Let me tell you something most folks don't want to admit. The devil is real, and so are demons. But before you get scared, let me remind you of something stronger. You are real too, and you're dangerous when you walk in truth. The devil is real, and you better believe it. But just because he's real doesn't mean he's in control. That voice that tells you you're not good enough, that whisper that makes you question your worth, that pressure that makes you feel like quitting, yeah, that's real. It's not just bad luck or a rough patch. There are forces working overtime to keep you from becoming everything you were created to be. But listen close. The devil may be busy, but he is not unbeatable. He's loud, but he's not in charge. He's sneaky, but he's not stronger than what's inside you. See, the problem is, most people give the devil too much credit and give themselves too little. They magnify the enemy and minimize their own power. That's how the enemy wins. Not by overpowering you, but by convincing you that you don't have any power at all. But that's a lie, because there is greatness buried inside you, waiting to rise. There is resilience in you that you haven't even tapped into yet. There's a voice inside you louder than the one trying to break you, if you'd only stop and listen. You've got to know who you are. You are not made to live in fear. You weren't built to bow to the lies of the enemy. You were designed with fire, with purpose, with grit. You're not soft, even if life has tried to break you. You're not weak, even if you've made mistakes. And you are definitely not hopeless, even if the storm's been going on for a long time. The enemy wants you to forget who you are, but let me remind you, you've already survived things the devil thought would take you out. You've already walked through fires that should have left you burned up. So why in the world would you start doubt now? This ain't the time to back down. This is the time to rise up, because when you finally realize the strength you've got, the enemy starts to lose his grip. He can't handle a person who knows their own power. That's why the attacks get heavier when you're closer to your breakthrough. That's why your mind feels like a war zone when you start stepping into your purpose. Because darkness doesn't go down without a fight. But just because it's fighting doesn't mean it's winning. You're not alone in this. And you're not unarmed either. You've got everything you need already inside you. So, yeah, the devil is real, but so is your power. So is your calling. So is your comeback. The devil can try, but he can't win unless you let him. Because he's not just fighting you, he's fighting what's in you. And what's in you, that's power the enemy can't handle. Demons don't waste time on people going nowhere. If you're feeling attacked, exhausted, stretched thin, it might not be because you're doing something wrong. It might be because you're doing something right. When you're close to a breakthrough, close to leveling up, that's when hell throws everything it has at you. That's when distractions increase, temptation shows up in disguise, and people you thought were for you start turning against you. Because pressure is not a punishment, it's a sign that something is shifting, a sign that you're the edge of something big. You don't get this kind of resistance when you're standing still. You get it when you're moving forward. See, demons don't fight potential, they fight momentum. And when you finally start walking toward the life you were born for, that's when the spiritual attacks hit hardest. You start waking up earlier, showing up more, dreaming bigger, and boom, the anxiety creeps in. The fear starts whispering. The doubts try to convince you that this new path is too hard, too risky, too uncertain. That's not coincidence. That's strategy. Because the enemy knows once you taste your breakthrough, you'll never go back to being who you used to be. So he tries to block the door before you can walk through it. But here's the thing. Pressure's not the enemy. Pressure's the proof that promotion is near. When a seed is about to break through the dirt, it faces resistance. When gold is about to be purified, it goes through fire. When a diamond is about to be formed, it's crushed under pressure. You're not breaking down, you're being built. You're being prepared to handle what you've prayed for. Because breakthrough without strength is dangerous, and strength is born in struggle. So when life starts pressing you from every angle, don't panic. Recognize the season. The enemy wouldn't be attacking you like this if you weren't close to something he's afraid of. He doesn't want you to break generational cycles. He doesn't want you to walk in your calling. He doesn't want you to influence people, build legacy, or rise up into leadership. So he hits you where it hurts. Your mind, your emotions, your peace, your relationship. But the pressure isn't there to destroy you. It's there to reveal you. Reveal who you really are. Reveal how far you've come. Reveal what you made of. You have to look past what's happening around you and trust what's happening within you. The old you wouldn't have survived this. The old you would have quit already, but you're still standing, even if it's with shaky knees and a tired heart. That means you're evolving. That means the breakthrough is closer than you think. And when the pressure builds, don't bow to it. Push through it, because what's waiting on the other side isn't just for you, it's for everyone your story is going to impact. The greatest battles you will ever face won't happen in the streets, the workplace, or even in your home. They happen in your mind. That's the real battlefield. That's where the devil does his best work. Because if he can get in your head, he doesn't need to chain your hands. He doesn't need to destroy your environment. All he needs to do is twist your thinking, and you'll do the rest. You'll start sabotaging yourself. You'll talk yourself out of opportunities. You'll replay your failures until you believe you're nothing more than your mistakes. See, the enemy understands something most people miss. Your thoughts shape your life. He doesn't come at you with fire and pitchforks. No, he comes in quietly, like a whisper that says, you're not enough. Like a voice that tells you, why even try? You'll just fail again. And the worst part, that voice sounds like your own. It echoes in your tone, your reasoning, your doubts, but it's not truth. It's a trap. The devil's not just trying to hurt you. He's trying to influence the way you see yourself. Because if you see yourself as broken, you won't bother trying to be whole. If you believe you're unworthy, you won't reach for purpose. If you think you're stuck, you won't look for a way out. That's how powerful thoughts are. You don't need bars on your windows if your mind has already become a prison. But here's what he's hoping you never figure out. Your mind is also your greatest weapon. When you start feeding it with truth, when you start replacing lies with power, things begin to shift. You don't have to believe every thought that passes through your head. You have the right to challenge it. You have the right to say, that thought doesn't belong here. The devil can plant seeds, but he can't force them to grow. That's up to you. That's why guarding your thoughts is so important, because every breakthrough starts in the mind, and so does every breakdown. And the thoughts you dwell on, they become beliefs. Beliefs shape decisions. Decisions shape destiny. So if the enemy can twist the first part, the thoughts, he never has to worry about the rest. That's why he keeps you reliving old trauma. That's why he keeps reminding you of what they said about you. That's why he loves when you doubt your worth, because as long as he's in your head, he doesn't need to be anywhere else. You have to fight back, not with fists, but with focus, not with anger, but with awareness. When the wrong thought shows up, you call it out. When fear creeps in, you replace it with truth. When you feel like quitting, you remind yourself of why you started. Because once you take control of your thoughts, you take back your life. The devil's strategy is simple. Convince you you're defeated, so you never realize you've already won. You can't cast out what you keep entertaining. You can't expect to be free from the very thing you keep feeding. That habit you keep justifying, that mindset you keep excusing, that relationship you know is toxic but still won't let go of. It's not going to suddenly disappear just because you wish it away. As long as you let it stay, it will grow. What you tolerate will eventually dominate. The more room you give it, the more control it takes. See, we've gotten too comfortable making peace with things that are actively trying to destroy us. We've learned to coexist with the very demons we need to evict. We say, it's just the way I am, or it's not that serious, or I can handle it, But deep down, we know it's slowly killing our focus, our peace, our purpose. The enemy doesn't need to take everything from you all at once. He just needs you to let a little darkness hang around, just enough to make you slip, just enough to dull your edge, just enough to keep you bound without even realizing it. The danger isn't in the big, obvious things. It's in the little compromises, the small justifications, the quiet distractions. That's how the enemy sneaks in, through the cracks we refuse to seal. You can pray all you want. You can cry and scream and shout. But if you keep inviting the same mess back into your life, you're not fighting it, you're feeding it. And what you feed lies. What you starved dies. It's like leaving the door open for a thief and then wondering why your house keeps getting robbed. You can't keep entertaining bitterness and expect peace to take root. You can't hold hands with fear and expect to walk in faith. You can't play around with temptation and then act surprised when it bites you. Eventually, what you allow will overpower you. It doesn't happen overnight. But inch by inch, you start losing ground. You lose clarity, you lose time, you lose yourself. At some point, you've got to get honest. What are you allowing in your life that you know shouldn't be there? What are you entertaining that's been blocking your blessing, slowing your progress, stealing your sleep? That thing won't leave until you stop giving it a seat at your table. You can't conquer what you're still coddling. You can't overcome what you still run to when life gets hard. Sometimes deliverance doesn't come in the form of a miracle. It comes in the form of a decision, a choice to stop dancing with destruction, a choice to get serious about your healing, a choice to protect your peace like your future depends on it, because it does. Freedom isn't just about casting things out. It's about cutting things off, choosing to stop tolerating what's been tolerated too long. When you draw the line, when you get bold enough to say, this doesn't belong here anymore, that's when the shift happens. That's when you take back control. Faith is not a soft word. It's not a quiet hope or a pretty thought you hang on a wall. Faith is a weapon. It's forged in fire, built through storms and sharpened in battle. You don't carry it around like a decoration. You use it when the fight comes to your doorstep, because make no mistake, demons don't back down from fear. They feed off of it. They know if they can keep you scared, they can keep you still. But when you rise up with faith, they start to tremble, not because of who you are, but because of what you carry. When life hits hard, and it will, wishing your way out of it won't work. You can wish for peace, wish for healing, wish for strength, but wishing doesn't change anything. Faith does. Faith steps up when fear says you can't. Faith speaks when everything else says be quiet. Faith doesn't need to see the full plan. It just needs to trust the one who holds it. It's not blind, it's focused. It knows the fight is bigger than feeling. It's not about being fearless, it's about choosing to move even when fear is screaming in your ear. The reason some people keep losing battles is because they're bringing the wrong weapon. You can't fight demons with self-pity. You can't overcome darkness by shrinking back. The devil doesn't flinch at your tears, but he runs from your truth. He backs up when you start declaring who you are and whose you are. Faith isn't passive, it's aggressive. It doesn't sit back and hope. It steps forward and takes territory. It says, this fear doesn't belong to me. This shame isn't my identity. This setback won't define me. Purpose is part of that fight. When you know why you're here, you won't be so quick to run when the pressure comes. Because faith without purpose is unstable, and purpose without faith is powerless. But when the two come together, that's fire. That's when you walk into a storm and still have peace. That's when you stand in the face of darkness and say, I'm not backing down. That's when you don't just survive, you rise. Truth is your anchor, because the enemy is the father of lies, and his whole strategy is deception. He tells you you're not ready. He tells you you're alone. He tells you you've messed up too much. And if you don't have truth, you'll start to believe him. But when you've got faith, purpose, and truth all working together, the lies lose their power. You don't have to fight to be loved. You already are. You don't have to earn your worth. You were born with it. And you don't have to fear the fire, because faith turns fire into fuel. So no, faith is not just something you hold in your heart. It's something you swing in battle. It's the fire that burns through the lies. It's the force that pushes you when you feel like quitting. It's not just belief, it's action, it's courage, it's power. The devil doesn't fear your potential, he fears your decision. He doesn't panic because you have dreams or talent or good intentions. No, he starts shaking when your mind is made up. When you stop playing around, when you stop going back and forth, when you finally say enough is enough, I'm walking in my purpose, that's when hell gets nervous. Because a made-up mind is dangerous. A made-up mind is focused. A made-up mind doesn't fall for the same old traps. See, as long as you're indecisive, as long as you're lukewarm, the devil can manage you. He can toss distractions your way and watch you chase them. He can bring up your past and watch you doubt your future. He can play with your emotions and keep you second guessing yourself. But once you decide, once you really make up your mind, the game changes. That's when you start becoming unstoppable. That's when you stop giving energy to things that don't deserve your attention. That's when you stop needing validation and start moving in conviction. The enemy wants you stuck in cycles. Always almost making it, always nearly committed, always close but never crossing over. Because he knows you were born to break barriers. He knows your calling is loud and your influence is heavy. So he tries to keep you confused, distracted, offended, bitter, not because those things are powerful, but because they keep you from stepping into your own. But the moment your mind is made up, the confusion breaks, the distractions fade, the bitterness dies, because clarity brings courage, and courage moves mountains. It doesn't mean the attacks stop. In fact, sometimes they get worse, because the devil throws the most at the people who are the closest to break through. But a made-up mind doesn't get scared, it gets stronger. It doesn't ask for an easier road, it locks in on the mission. It says, I may get knocked down, but I'm not staying down. I may feel the heat, but I'm not running from the fire. Because when your mind is made up, your heart follows, your discipline follows, your decisions follow. And let's be real, you've already tried it the other way. You've already lived with a halfway heart and a scattered focus. You've already given time to things and people who weren't worthy of it. But look at you now. Still standing, still learning, still growing. Don't you think it's time to draw the line? Don't you think it's time to make the decision that you're not going back to who you used to be, that you're not letting fear win, not letting doubt drive, not letting the devil sit at your table? That's power in your decision, not a temporary mood, not a passing emotion, a decision. That's what shakes the enemy. Not your shouts, not your tears, not even your prayer alone, but your resolve. When you say, this is who I am now, this is the life I'm living now, no turning back, that's when chains break. That's when momentum builds. That's when you become a real threat to darkness.